The planet was quiet, almost eerily so, when Ethan stepped onto the rocky surface. The sky was streaked with shades of violet and orange, as if the atmosphere itself had been painted in hurried strokes. His boots crunched over the sharp, uneven stones, and the wind carried the scent of sulfur and distant fires. This planet, once thriving with life, had become a battlefield for factions whose reasons were lost to time, or at least to him. Ethan's team moved cautiously behind him. They were a small unit of explorers and medics sent to provide aid to those caught in the interstellar conflict. His role was simple in theory: assist, stabilize, evacuate, but experience had taught him that on a planet like this, simple rarely lasted longer than a few minutes. A sudden movement caught his eye, a flash of silver armor and a figure that seemed larger than any alien he had ever seen. Before he could react fully, the figure staggered, one of its back limbs collapsing under its weight. Ethan's heart pounded as he realized the alien was wounded, critically so. "Wait!" he shouted to his team. "I'll handle this!" "Ethan, no!" one of his teammates warned. "We don't know their customs. We don't even know what they're capable of." But Ethan had already begun moving. He had trained for this: medic drills, emergency protocols, alien anatomy simulations, but nothing could have fully prepared him for this moment. The alien stumbled, then fell forward, the ground shaking under its weight. Its armor was torn across the back, revealing strange, glistening skin beneath, streaked with deep cuts. Ethan crouched beside it, speaking in calm, steady tones. "I'm not going to hurt you. I'm here to help." The alien froze, its large, multifaceted eyes studying him. There was something commanding in its gaze, something that demanded respect, yet beneath it, Ethan could detect pain and vulnerability. The air seemed to thrum with tension as he carefully examined the wound. His hands hovered for a moment before he began. He had brought medical supplies, though none of them were designed for alien physiology. He adapted quickly, improvising with what he had: sterile fluid, bandages, and his knowledge of healing. Each movement was deliberate, precise, cautious. The alien made a low, resonant sound, not quite a growl, but not a purr either. It didn't resist, though the movement in its back suggested discomfort. Ethan's mind raced. He needed to clean the wound without causing further harm, without triggering any defensive reflexes. One wrong move, and the result could be fatal, for both of them. "Easy now," he murmured, using the universal tone of calm reassurance he had learned worked across species. Slowly, he cleaned the wound, removing dirt, debris, and traces of the alien's blood that had dried along the edges. The skin beneath was tougher than human skin, almost translucent in places, and Ethan had to adjust his grip to avoid tearing it further. Around them, the battlefield was quiet but tense. Other alien soldiers had halted their movements, watching with sharp, alert eyes. They didn't approach. They didn't intervene. There was a line of respect and fear that Ethan didn't fully understand. The alien queen, for that's what she clearly was, had a presence that commanded attention even when she was incapacitated. Finally, after what seemed like an eternity, Ethan finished cleaning the wound. He applied a specially prepared bandage, careful to mold it to the alien's form without causing pain. As he stepped back slightly, the queen's eyes met his. She spoke in her native language, the words rolling and resonating in a way that vibrated through the air. Ethan didn't understand, but he caught the meaning in the tone, the way her gaze softened and the tension in her body eased just a little. "Did she just acknowledge me?" he whispered under his breath. His teammate, still hovering nearby, shook her head. She said something about sacred trust. I don't know exactly, but it's important. Really important. Ethan, we should leave." Ethan hesitated. There was a weight in the queen's eyes, a silent demand for more than he could interpret, something beyond language, beyond protocol. And yet he felt an odd sense of connection, a human intuition that told him his actions mattered here. The Queen's eyes narrowed slightly, and then, in a voice that stunned everyone present, she spoke in universal trade language, clear and firm. "Only my spouse may perform such care." The words struck Ethan like a lightning bolt. He took a step back, feeling the cold wind of shock ripple across him. "Spouse," he whispered, repeating the word in disbelief. His team stared at him, mouths agape. "Spouse? She just said that?" one of them asked, voice trembling. Ethan nodded, swallowing hard. "Yes, I think she means it. Only her spouse can do this, and somehow she considers this me?" The Queen made no move to clarify further, her eyes still studying him. Ethan noticed a flicker of something behind those vast eyes, curiosity perhaps, or recognition, perhaps even trust. The battlefield around them seemed to fade as the moment stretched. Ethan felt the weight of responsibility settle on his shoulders. He hadn't planned to form any kind of bond, certainly not with an alien queen. But here he was, standing at the center of something ancient and profound. He glanced at his team, seeing the mix of awe and fear in their faces. He knew they didn't understand, couldn't fully grasp what was happening. And yet, leaving now could risk everything. Risk disrespecting an ancient custom that could change the fate of the planet, perhaps even the fate of human-alien relations. "Ethan," his teammate said softly, "this is bigger than us, bigger than anything we expected. We should step back." He shook his head, resolve firming. "No, I can't. Not yet. I have to see this through." The Queen made a low sound, almost like a hum, and then slowly, with a deliberate grace, she shifted her body. She didn't speak again, but her posture suggested a willingness, an acceptance. Ethan realized that his actions, his careful, respectful actions, had earned her trust. Something rare, something sacred, had been initiated here. Night was falling, and the alien sky deepened into a swirl of stars and nebulae. Fires from distant battles cast flickering shadows across the landscape, but Ethan felt strangely isolated, focused entirely on the Queen before him. He took a step closer, careful to remain respectful, and spoke gently. "I won't fail you. I'll protect you, as best I can." The Queen's eyes softened for a moment, and then she let out a sound that could almost be described as a sigh. It was a small gesture, but for Ethan, it carried immense weight. He understood then that this was more than a medical act. It was a moment of trust, of recognition, a bond that transcended language and species. His team watched, uncertain what to do, but Ethan didn't care. He had always believed that humanity's strength lay not just in technology or weapons, but in empathy, courage, and integrity. Here, on this alien battlefield, those qualities were proving their worth in ways he had never imagined. The Queen shifted again, and her gaze held him firmly. She didn't speak, but her eyes conveyed a clear message. What had been done could not be undone. She had entrusted him with something sacred, something personal. Ethan understood the weight of it immediately. One wrong move now could destroy the fragile trust he had earned. As the wind howled and the distant sounds of battle echoed, Ethan felt a strange calm wash over him. He had come to this planet to heal, to help, and now he found himself part of something larger, something ancient and profound. The alien Queen's declaration, her words about a spouse, hung in the air, mysterious and challenging, but somehow guiding him. Ethan knew that the days ahead would test him in ways he had never imagined. The Queen was strong, intelligent, and formidable, but she was also vulnerable, and he, just a human among the stars, had been chosen to play a role he did not fully understand. For the first time in his life, Ethan felt truly connected to another being, across the gulf of species, culture, and worlds. He realized that courage, care, and respect could create bonds that even the harshest battles could not break. The parting wind carried whispers of future challenges and unseen dangers. Yet, as he stood there beside the alien queen, Ethan felt a sense of purpose stronger than any fear. The bond had been formed, sacred and unspoken, and he knew that his life, and perhaps the lives of many others, would never be the same again. The stars above shone brightly, and for a fleeting moment the chaos of the battlefield seemed distant. In the quiet, Ethan understood something fundamental. Being human was not just about survival. It was about trust, compassion, and the courage to act when the world demanded it most. And in that moment, on a distant, war-torn planet, amidst alien eyes that measured and judged and yet had chosen to trust him, Ethan felt something extraordinary. He was no longer just a medic. He was a guardian of something sacred, a bridge between worlds, and a witness to the profound power of human integrity. Ethan woke to the soft hum of alien energy flowing through the walls of the Queen's command chamber. The room was vast, lined with materials that seemed alive, pulsing gently with light, and filled with a calm authority that human architecture could never replicate. Though the Queen was resting, her presence seemed to linger everywhere, like a shadow of power that Ethan could feel even in her absence. He stepped carefully across the floor, keeping his senses alert. His mind was still processing the events of the previous day. The battlefield, the Queen's wound, her words about a spouse. The reality of what had happened was almost impossible to accept, yet it was undeniable. He had been chosen in some way, recognized in a ritual that no human had ever experienced before. A door opened silently, and a group of the Queen's elite guards entered. They did not approach aggressively, but their eyes studied him closely. Ethan raised his hand slightly, signaling calm. One of the guards stepped forward, speaking in careful universal trade language. "The Queen requests your presence. There are matters you must understand. Follow." Ethan nodded and followed, moving through corridors that twisted and curved like the veins of a living organism. The air carried a subtle scent, sharp and floral at the same time, and the walls glimmered faintly with a golden light. Each step made him more aware of the uniqueness of this society and the weight of the responsibility he now carried. When they reached the Queen's chamber, she was seated upon a high platform, her form regal and commanding even while at rest. Her eyes focused on him as he approached, sharp and piercing, yet not unkind. "You have done what no other outsider has ever done," she said in universal language. "You have cared for me, and in doing so you have taken part in our most sacred trust." Ethan swallowed hard. "I only wanted to help. I didn't know it meant this." The Queen inclined her head slightly, a gesture of acknowledgement. "Intent matters, human. Courage and compassion matter more. That is why this bond exists now. You understand that you are bound by our ritual, though you are not of my species." Ethan's heart pounded. He had known that humans could be respected, even admired in alien societies, but this was unprecedented. "Bound? How? What does it mean?" he asked. "It is not the bond of ownership," she said, her voice measured and deliberate. "It is a bond of trust, a bond of protection. You have been recognized as someone worthy of my confidence, someone capable of safeguarding not only me, but the future of my people." He nodded slowly, trying to absorb the weight of her words. It was more than personal recognition. It was a bridge between species, a statement that humanity's qualities could command respect, even in the most alien of cultures. Over the following hours, Ethan learned about her world in a way no outsider had before. The Queen explained the customs of her people, the rituals surrounding leadership, and the significance of care in their society. Cleaning a wound, she explained, was never a trivial act. It was a demonstration of trust, a sacred rite that established a bond stronger than any treaty or promise. Ethan listened intently. Every detail fascinated him. The structure of her society, the respect given to courage and empathy, and the balance of strength and wisdom that the Queen embodied. He realized that his own actions, guided by human instinct and training, had fulfilled the criteria of a ritual that had existed for millennia. As the day passed, the Queen's guards observed silently, ensuring that nothing threatened the chamber. Ethan found himself walking alongside the Queen, helping her adjust her armor and providing guidance on mobility as her back healed. With each careful movement, the bond between them grew, not one of romance or desire, but of respect, trust, and shared purpose. Yet, even as they developed this mutual understanding, danger lurked beyond the palace. Other factions, seeing the Queen wounded and vulnerable, plotted to exploit the situation. Ethan's human ingenuity quickly became evident. He assessed security flaws, suggested tactical maneuvers, and coordinated with the Queen's advisors to prevent any threat from reaching her. When a scouting team returned with urgent news of a planned ambush, Ethan's pulse quickened. The attackers were coming from multiple directions, well-armed and relentless. The Queen stood beside him, calm and unshaken. Her trust in him was clear. "You must act," she said simply, her eyes meeting his. "Your choices will affect more than just yourself." Ethan nodded, focusing his mind. He devised a plan using the terrain, his understanding of the attackers' technology, and improvised defenses. Using human tactics adapted to alien warfare, he positioned the Queen's soldiers strategically, coordinated distractions, and created opportunities for counterattacks. The ambush began at dusk. The attackers approached swiftly, but Ethan's preparations proved effective. Alien soldiers moved with precision, responding to his signals and strategies. Explosions illuminated the battlefield, but Ethan's calm focus ensured that the Queen remained safe. He treated minor injuries on the spot, reinforced defenses, and made split-second decisions that saved countless lives. At the climax, a group of heavily armored assailants broke through the perimeter, aiming directly for the Queen. Ethan intercepted them, using both agility and quick thinking to neutralize the threat. He manipulated the terrain, forcing the attackers into disadvantageous positions, and guided the Queen to safety. Every action was deliberate, careful, yet bold, proof that human ingenuity could match alien skill and experience. After the battle, the Queen surveyed the scene, her expression unreadable for a moment. Then she turned to Ethan, her gaze softening. "You have proven your worth," she said. "Not only in care, but in courage, in strategy, in judgment. The bond we share is now confirmed. You are recognized as my sacred partner in trust." Ethan felt a mixture of relief, pride, and awe. The recognition was not about honorific titles or superficial status. It was a profound acknowledgement of his abilities, character, and integrity. He realized that humans could achieve greatness not only through technology or strength, but through empathy, adaptability, and courage. The Queen continued, "This bond is sacred, human. You are now entrusted with responsibilities beyond your understanding. But know this, your choices will influence the fate of many. I trust you." Ethan nodded solemnly. "I will not fail you," he promised. The words felt weighty, yet natural. He understood that his role was both a privilege and a duty. In the following days, Ethan immersed himself further into the Queen's world. He learned the intricacies of her society, the expectations placed upon leaders, and the delicate balance of diplomacy and strength required to maintain peace. He shared human knowledge, offering solutions that combined his species' ingenuity with their customs. The Queen and her council came to rely on him not as an outsider, but as an ally, a strategist, and a bridge between worlds. Despite the challenges, Ethan found moments of quiet reflection. Walking through alien gardens that glowed softly at night, he marveled at the delicate flora and the sense of harmony they represented. The Queen would occasionally join him, discussing philosophy, history, and the value of trust. Though their conversation required translation and careful thought, it revealed shared values and a surprising compatibility of ideas. One evening, after a day of planning defenses and healing minor injuries, the Queen paused and looked at him seriously. "Human," she said, "few of your kind would have acted as you did. You possess qualities that inspire respect, courage that exceeds expectation, and a heart capable of understanding that which many ignore. That is why the bond was possible." Ethan smiled faintly, humbled by her words. "I just did what I thought was right. I guess it worked." She tilted her head, a faint smile forming on her lips. "It did more than work. It changed perceptions. It changed possibilities. You have shown that humanity is capable of greatness beyond what we imagined." As the night deepened, Ethan realized that his journey on this planet had begun as a mission of aid and rescue, but had transformed into something far more significant. He was no longer merely a human explorer or medic. He was a participant in an ancient and sacred tradition, a protector of a queen and a bridge between species. His actions had proven that humanity's finest qualities, courage, empathy, ingenuity, and respect, could resonate even across the stars. Days turned into weeks, and the bond between Ethan and the Queen strengthened, though always with the sacred respect it demanded. Together they navigated threats, solved conflicts, and fostered understanding between humans and aliens. Their partnership became a symbol, inspiring those around them to recognize that even in the most alien of circumstances, humanity's virtues could shine. And in moments of quiet reflection, standing beside the Queen or observing the stars from the palace terraces, Ethan felt a profound sense of purpose. He had come to an alien world to help, and he had found something far greater: trust, responsibility, and the power to bridge worlds through courage and compassion. The universe remained vast and full of dangers, but for the first time, Ethan felt that humans could not only survive among the stars, they could lead, inspire, and earn respect in ways that transcended species. And he knew that whatever came next, the sacred bond he had formed with the alien Queen would guide him, protect him, and define the legacy of humanity among the stars. As dawn broke over the alien horizon, painting the sky with colors he had never seen before, Ethan stood beside the Queen, ready to face the future. It was a future uncertain, challenging, but filled with possibility, and he knew one thing for certain: he would meet it with courage, honor, and the heart of a human.